Barakateh Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Ruchakwadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Things Will Not Stay the Same. Now, this is a title that came to me, I believe this was last night. And this is pretty much centered around, the way things are going right now, the way you see things going on right now, that so-called calm and comfort, your everyday, getting up and doing the same routine, is going back to so-called 9/11, September 11 or 9/11, when that morning, when everybody woke up, I believe that was a Tuesday, everybody woke up that morning and it was a regular day. Then all of a sudden, by like 8 something, 9 o'clock, the whole world turned into a whole different meaning. And it just happened just like that, out of nowhere. No one was expecting it, then all of a sudden, boom, it just happened and came out of nowhere. And what did that do? That changed the face of the world forever. So what you see going on right now, things are not always going to be like this. Things are going to change, Things are not going to stay the same all the time, and the closer we get to the end, the more difficult it's going to be to navigate in this society, because the way that the international banking families are pushing, is to make life a living hell for those that don't comply with their agenda. This is why you have movies like Demolition Man, where you had people that were actually living underground, eating scraps, eating rat burgers and shit like that, because they refused to conform to the agenda, so to speak. So they were forced to live outside of those parameters that Esau have set up, and that's what's happening right now. Slowly but surely, they're cutting the ring off, so to speak, and they're sending people out, mandating things, pushing people into a corner. Now they're making it to where some of the essential things that you need, if you want to get to some of these places or do some of these things, you have to comply with their orders. Get that Crown Vicky serum or venom, and eventually that's going to lead to the MOTB, which is the microchip. So you see how they're cutting the ring off with the Crown Vicky venom or that snake serum, so you see how they're doing that. That's exactly how they plan on doing the other thing. Now, today is the 8th, I believe, August 8th, 2021, the year of hastening the actually it's August 9th. What am I talking about? August 9th, 2021, hastening the coming of the year of hastening the coming of Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This Wednesday coming up, they're supposed to be broadcasting a signal, and I believe they're supposed to be having some type of event, where they're going to be doing some kind of whatever they're going to be doing, and it's interesting to see what's going to happen. We're not really sure what that's going to be, if that's going to trigger anything. Maybe it's just a test, to see if certain things work. Maybe it's a test to see if the Crown Vicky Venom individuals turn up, with that particular signal. We're not really sure exactly what it's going to be, but we know it's a test, a trial run for something. And anytime these devils do something, they do any type of testing, they're usually in the time of the testing, something usually pops up that deals with that same thing that they're testing for. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look up this word sudden. The word sudden means happening without warning or in a short space of time. Sudden, happening without warning or in a short space of time. And that's why, things are not going to always stay the same. Things are going to change, because one event can set off a domino effect, you know, to make the world, you know, change it, you know, and change people's lives and make people's lives a living hell. You know, so things are not always going to stay the same. They never stood the same, going all the way back to, you know, to the early 90s, into the 2000s, all the way to present day. Things always change. There's always certain things that happen. You know, this is why the Spirit has Elder Pastor say that each particular year that comes in, he gives it a different name. Why? Because it reflects upon that particular the vibe that's out at that time. You know, like every decade or so, music changes. You know, you had your 60s, your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and every decade the music changed. It went into a different genre or a different, it changed, put it like that. So that's the way things are changing now, and things are not always going to remain the same. So let's read that again one more time. The word sudden, happening without warning or in a short space of time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the scriptures. We're going to go into the book of 2 Ezra 6. We're going to read a little bit out of that and jump around to other scriptures. And Lord's will, this will be an edifying lesson, as well as a faith booster. All right, this is the book of 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 20. It says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. So every time something goes down, the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai gives us signs, tokens, you know, events that will take place that will let us know that we're in the end times. Because everything has, you know, signs and you know, you have your beginnings and you have your middle of times and you have your ending of times. And when things end, there's a certain, when things begin, there's certain signs. And when things end, there's certain signs. And the signs, and the signs of when something ends is usually not good. Look at all those empires. When those empires first began, their beginnings were great. They took down other nations. They were, you know, in a splendid place. They got much riches. They got much, you know, praise from different nations. You know, they were lauded. They were put up, you know, on a pedestal. But then when it was their time to go down, they went down horribly. Through famines, through sieges, through destruction, wars, you know, captivities. So pretty much they were brought down low. So the end is going to be, the signs and effects that are going to be taking place in the end are not going to be pleasant. You know, they're going to be very dramatic. But nevertheless, these are the signs and the tokens that the Lord spoke of that would be at the end, that would usher in the destruction. So it says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. So the Lord is letting us know what is going to be happening in the end of the world. When the end is coming, or when the end is here, how are we going to know that it's the end? So the Lord said, look, I'm going to show these tokens. It says, the book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. So what is the firmament? The firmament is the ozone layer. Now, what is in the firmament? I mean, yeah, what is up in that region? You have what's known as satellites, which is the unicorn's horn. And what are those satellites doing? They're emitting signals back and forth to the earth. And what's happening is there are videos, web pages, and different information that's going out, that's being broadcasted throughout the four corners of the earth, through these signals that are up in the heavens, you know, in the ozone layer, the firmament. And what happens, people around the world are seeing all together. So you have Israelites that are waking up all around the world from these different videos that were first broadcasted from America. You see, and people are waking up, Jacob waking up, the Israelite men are opening up camps, going out there teaching and preaching. So the Lord said that this would be the sign that he would be coming back. These things would be happening. Another sign is that we would be taking up a parable against the king of Babylon, saying, how is that kingdom brought down to the ground? You know, in so many words. So these are all signs that would be happening. Other signs would be famines and uproars of the people, and all of these things that we see going on around the world right now, earthquakes, you know, and in diverse places. 1 minute things are quiet, next minute you have a rumbling earthquake, 7.3 or 8.9, whatever the case may be. So this is what the Lord is doing. He's shaking the world up. He's shaking it up. Shake it up. All right, so it says, and the children of a year old shall speak with their voice. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. Those are your preemies. And suddenly, what did we read for the word sudden? Let's read that again. Sudden, happening without warning or in a short space of time. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. And we are witnessing the disruption of the food supply worldwide, and just supplies in general. But just dealing with on the food supply worldwide, we're witnessing a disruption in the food supply worldwide. And why is that? Because we're coming to the end, and the Lord's words will be fulfilled. He said there will be famines in all different types of places. So if that's the case, there has to be something to happen to cause these famines. And that's why you see because what they did was they put the farmers in a bad predicament to where they can't afford to pay, the money that these devils are asking of them in order for them to run their own independent farms. So what a lot of them are doing is they're conforming to the government in order to operate business-wise. That's why they had to buy their GMO foods from them. And if brothers have GMO foods in their house, that's none of your goddamn business. If that's all brothers could afford, then what are you going to do? Scriptures say we shall eat our bread defiled among the nations. That's none of your goddamn business what a brother has in his crib. Anyway, so this is what they're doing. So they're making them buy their seeds. They're making them buy their equipment. They're making them use their pesticides. And all of these things are causing problems. They're causing cancers. They're causing sicknesses. The glyphosate from the Roundup and other pesticides are seeping into the food. Like right now, you can't even eat goddamn peanut butter. And peanuts are good for you. Peanuts are healthy. But the problem is that they have a soft shell. They grow, I believe they grow in the ground. So the pesticide going into the ground leaks into that soft shell, and all peanuts have that glyphosate in them. That's why people that eat a lot of peanut butter, they start to have like neurological problems, with their head and all that stuff, because of that particular shit that's getting into their system. So they said the best thing to do is, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just saying what another doctor said, or what a doctor said. He said just take some chlorophyll. But I'll leave it at that, because I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an MD. I'm not licensed. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. So it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Why? Because of the lack of bread. And they're doing this on purpose. Because the Lord is going to fulfill his word. No matter how it's fulfilled, it's going to be fulfilled. Right? It says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Why? Because this is going to spring on the people like nothing. So you're going to be walking down the street one day, whistling Dixie. You're able to stop at your KFCs, get some hot wings, and some fake hawk breast, that's the kill breast. Yeah, it might be from a kill, and you could stop at your Burger Kings, get your booger burgers. You could stop at your McDonald's and get your non-decomposing fries, and your trimmings. And then one day you're gonna go out and you're not gonna be able to get shit. Everything's gonna be shut down, locked down. Why? Because there ain't gonna be no food there. You know, the supplies are breaking down. That's why you go to your favorite restaurant now in certain cases, and there's certain things that you like to order, but you can't order them because there's a shortage of it. See? This is all done by design. Why? To fulfill the Lord's prophecies. Let's see if that word comes up. Oh yeah, by design. With intention, in an intentional manner. But we're dealing with intention. Advisedly, by choice, deliberately, intentionally, on purpose. See? So it's on purpose that they're doing it. It's by design. They designed it that way. But why did they design it that way? Because the Lord sealed in that demonic brain of theirs these instructions on what to do so that the Lord's words can be carried out. Dig it? Con? All right. Let's read that again. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man shall heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid, and at that time shall friends fight against another like enemies. Why are friends going to fight against another like enemies? It could be through the signal and the Vicky Venom that's sliding in them, you know, that they have going on in their system, and when they hit that signal, it might cause that to happen, you know. But another scenario is what? Lack of bread. Lack of food brings a beast out of people. Lack of food does something to most people, you know. It causes the ugly side of them to come out. You know, it causes them to go into beast mode. And I don't mean that in a good way. Because what do beasts do? Here it is, you'll have a cheetah, which is one of the fastest animals out there. He'll be running. He gets out of breath quick, so he got to catch his prey quick. And he knocks down something. He gets a gazelle, and he got the gazelle choking. But he's tired as fuck. So because he finally kills the gazelle takes his last breath, and now the cheetah's there trying to catch his breath. And here comes the lion, moseying along. He ain't do no work. He said, "Rah, get out of here, you damn cheetah." And then all of a sudden he takes his shit. Well, that's how it's gonna be. You know, people are gonna be taking other people's shit. There's gonna be survival of the fittest out this bitch. You know, excuse my Swahili. So it says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Did I go too far? I sure did. But that's all right. Let's just read on. Cause I was gonna jump to another precept, but let's. Matter of fact, Salaki, let me stop right there, and let me get this other precept, because this goes. Yeah, let me get the other precept real quick. This is 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Yeah, why? Because there's going to be some serious hard times coming. And you have to keep remembering that the average American is not equipped to deal with hard times. Now, Jake in the Hood, for some of them, it's going to be like it's not going to be a walk in the park, because you're going to have Jacob's trouble. But Jake is used to adversity. Jake is used to doing without. You know, you have half of something, but you don't have the other half. You have bread, but you got no meat to put in the bread. That's called a wish sandwich. Inside joke. You have peanut butter, but you got no jelly or no jam or no preserves. You know, so you have to. Jake is used to going without, but the way things are going to be in this time is going to be far worse than that. You ain't going to have shit. You ain't going to have one or the other. You ain't going to have either one. So it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, because that's what's coming, lamentation and mourning and woes. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. Who are the powers? The powers are these different governments. Even they're going to stand in fear. Why? Because they're not going to know what to do. Because a divine intervention is coming. Things that are going to be happening. You know, there could be apparitions that pop up. you know. And for those of you that don't know what the word apparition is, go look it up. It's a ghostly figure, you know. I help you out, because I know some of you are lazy. But you could have, because that happened in Egypt. Did not the Lord say that he will plague Egypt as before? So these things that happen in Egypt could very well happen here in America, the modern day Egypt. And these people are not ready for that. These governments are not ready for that. These governments and these militaries are not ready for the angels. That's why they're scared and nervous, because they have no weapon, they have no defense against that. See, Esau prides himself in boasting and poking his chest out at other nations, because he has the military might to destroy them. And if there's a weapon that he's missing, or if there's something that he doesn't have, he'll make sure that his scientists put it together and have this particular weapon, and then he'll boast and brag to these nations, and if they make a move, he'll sting them. But with the angels, you can't do that, because the technology that they have is light years ahead of your bullshit. The one scientist, I believe, said 100 to 1,000 years. They're light years ahead of you, man. Forget 100 or 1,000 years, light years ahead of you. You will never catch up to that. You will never even amount to a little minuscule amount to the technology that the angels have. So it says, the beginnings of evils. What should I do when these evils shall come? And this is why it's good to be in the good graces of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, because when these evils come, he can have his hedge about us. You know? He can have his hands cover us. He can have his angels protecting us, because they are the ministers of the Lord, ministers to for those that are heirs to the kingdom of heaven. So it says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So these are the things that are coming. And we see just in the disruption of the food supply, just the food supply alone, that there's going to be trouble, that there's trouble lurking, that there are problems that are creeping up and are about to explode on the scene. So things are not going to be the same. They're not going to stay the same as they always are. You know, you could pretty much say that this is, the storm has kind of started, but it hasn't really picked up. You know, I can't even say we're in the calm before the storm, because the storm is already brewing. It's starting, but it just hasn't really hit. You know, it hasn't really dawned on people that, damn, we're in a storm. But as they start to realize that, it's going to be too late, because it's going to be in full bloom. It says, Salakia. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Yeah, because then every time Jake go through something, they don't really consider, well, maybe we pissed the Heavenly Father off, that's why he's mad at us. You know, they'll go through something and they might kind of straighten up for a little bit, you know, but then once things start kind of getting back to normal, they go right back to the same bullshit. Behold, victual shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. You know, they're like, yeah, you know, the economy's bouncing back, we're doing good, you know, about to get my job back and blah blah, this it comes with perks, you know, I'm getting a raise, so on and so forth. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And why is that great confusion going to come to pass? Because these people have no survival skills. These people don't know how to function without the cities that they have been put into. There's not that many people that know how to start a fire, you know, without a stove, without electricity, or without gas. There's not many people, when I say people, I'm talking about Jakes. There's not many Jakes out there that know how to hunt. You know, there's not many Jakes out there that know how to survive in an environment outside of these cities. So pretty much what these cities are, they're a death trap. They have put Jake in a lazy mentality. You know, they got everything is instant. So the patience level for when Jake's stomach starts growling, if they don't get something to eat within 5 minutes, they throwing a fit, a tantrum. You see them in these different fast food restaurants. When shit don't go their way, what happens? They jumping through windows of drive-throughs. They flipping out, knocking shit all over the place. You know. You didn't get my ham and cheese ready yet, goddamn. It's been 3 minutes. Flipping out. So what the cities have done to Jake is pretty much set Jake back. You know? And that's why it's gonna get bad, because when shit shuts down, where Jake gonna go to? And we went when the whole lockdown happened back in 2020. We were driving, I forgot where we were going, and in this one particular restaurant, only the drive-through was open. So you had people going through the drive-through, and you had this one Jake that walked up to the door and tried to open the door, and it wouldn't open, and he let out a moan like a zombie. And that's going to be the attitude of Jake when that time comes. He was like a zombie, you know, like because he couldn't get in there to get no food. But what's going to happen is they're going to end up breaking windows, you know, rushing up in there. And to their amazement and surprise, a lot of those places are going to be emptied out. It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. And that famine is going to cause great confusion. And that's what we read earlier, which we're going to go back to. That's going to cause friends to fight like enemies. You know? What? That's the last Coke? Oh, no, hell no. You know? Inside joke. Or the last Pepsi or whatever it was. Inside joke. Gonna be fighting over a goddamn Pepsi Cola. Gonna be fighting over goddamn poison. It's gonna get bad, man. It's gonna get really bad. It says, and the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword destroy. Yeah, because once the Lord got his scope on you, woo, man, that's it. That's why he's known as the king of terrors, man. Once the Lord got the scope on you, that's it. I was watching last night on Reels. I was watching the last days of Lisa Left Eye Lopez, and the Lord had it out for her, man. You know, he had it out for that devil, for that demon, because there was a whole bunch of people in that truck, and she was the only one that died. And she happened not to have on a seatbelt that day, and she happened to wear a black dress, you know. And then she was kind of like, she in a way knew she was about to die, you know, because there was this kid that her and her assistant was driving, and they were driving, I forgot what they were doing, and then the kid ran in the street, and the assistant hit him, and the kid ended up dying, and he ended up having the last name Lopez as this chick did, you know. So she was just like the Lord showed her that she was about to die, you know. So when that crash happened, she swerved to avoid another car, drove off the road. The car was flipping. She flew out the car, and more than likely, when she landed, the car rolled over her, because it said that her cranium got all fucked up, you know, and then she died from all that trauma. You know, so when the Lord got it out for you, man, that's it. You know, it says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. See? And there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. So things are going to change. You ain't going to be able to go to your local bodega, you know, or supermarket, or whatever it is that you call it in your area, in your hood, because things are going to get bad. All right, so let's go back. Let me hold on to this. Let's go back to 2 Ezra 6 and 24 now. It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Now that could be because the Lord causes something to happen to not allow the waters to run, causing drought. Or you could have these devils turning off certain things, because you know they always got their hand in shit. Which either way is the Lord anyway. You know, got their hand in like they got everything controlled. By the flick of a switch, they could turn things off. You know, so it's going to cause droughts and all of that. It says, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation in the end of your world. So it's going to be like a maze of evil, destruction, persecution, that if you're able to make it through that maze, you'll be able to be delivered. And only the elect are going to have the spiritual ability to maneuver through that maze, because the Lord is going to make something happen somehow, some way. It says, and the men that are received shall see it. What men are received? The ones that are to be saved, who have not tasted death from their birth, because there's going to be those that are alive in this time that will not die and that will be delivered. It says, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed, see, and turn into another meaning. Why? Because the ones that are destined to be destroyed, they're going to be in confusion, but the ones that are destined to be delivered, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, the strength of salvation. So their mind is going to be set on a different wavelength. All right? It says, for evil shall be put out and deceit shall be quenched. And we see that happening. But when all hell breaks loose, you know, the elect are going to be guided down a path that's going to be better than the rest. You know, some will get caught up in that, you know, because you have time of Jacob's trouble. But for somehow, some way, the Lord's going to make a way for the elect to escape all of these things. You know? It says, as for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which hath been so long without fruit shall be declared. Because at that time, everyone's going to want to know what the hell is going on. Because people are going to be confused. They're going to be crying. They're going to be frantic. They're going to be passing out, dropping dead of heart attacks, strokes. You know, they're going to be shivering. They're not going to know what to do. Or Jake could talk a good game. He'll talk all kinds of shit. You see him in the ghetto talking all kinds of shit. You see him in the barrios, in the hood, talking all kinds of shit. Anything you say to them, they got a comeback, snappy comeback. But when this time comes, all of that wit is going to go out the window. There's going to be very few that are going to be able to react and function in the midst of all this destruction and stuff that's coming. So it goes on to say, so now let's go back to 2 Ezra 16 and let's jump to the 33rd verse, because this is going to cause death. You know, then you're going to have race wars, class wars. You're going to have, you know, a lot of Jake that's going to be drafted, a lot of women that are going to be drafted. It's going to get, man, it's going to be bad, because the scripture says there's going to be nothing but confusion everywhere. It says, verse 33, 2 Ezra 16:33, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Yeah, because it's going to get bad out here. There's going to be a lot of death. You know? It says, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So it's going to be bad out here. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. The Lord said, my servants shall eat. Why? Because the Lord put the Spirit on his servants to follow his instructions, to follow his lead. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Yeah, because everything that you see the international banking family do, whether they call themselves the Illuminati or whatever the case may be, they're doing it all in the name of their gods. And the name of their gods that they're doing it in is nothing more than a new, same gods from the ancient world being worshipped today, but with different names, different rites, different customs and rituals. But it's all the same shit. So the Lord said, believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. Because when they come, they're going to come in bunches, man. It says, as when a woman with child is in the 9th month, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. And you women out there that have had children, you know how that is. The closer the baby comes, you know, to being delivered, the more pains and the more what's the word I'm looking for? The more frequent the pains come until the baby's born. So that's how it's going to be in this time with all of the plagues that the Lord spoke about. And eventually the ultimate plague is going to be the missiles that's going to destroy this place, and the lasers from the chariots. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. So the closer we get to the birth being the destruction and deliverance of Israel, the more intense it's going to be. The more the birth pains are going to be out on the earth, the more the contractions are going to take place. So these contractions are going to come in the form of the birth pains of famine, of the uproars, of the destruction, you know, of people fighting against each other, of all of these things that the Lord said would come prior to him making his appearance. It says, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. This is why the Lord said, the world shall rejoice, but you shall mourn, but your mourning shall be turned into joy. He that reaps in tears shall sow in I forget the word. It says, he that soweth in tears shall reap in joy, or something along those lines. Because the ones that are mourning now will rejoice. That's why when the destruction of America happens, the Lord told the disciples, the apostles and all them, rejoice, for the Lord hath avenged you on her. And that's going to be a part of the singing up in the chariots. You know, the great joy, that's the song of deliverance, the song of Moses. Like the Lord delivered the Israelites out of Egypt, and they sung to the Lord and praised him for the deliverance. It's the same thing in this time. Going to sing the song of Moses all over again when the Lord delivers us. You know, Lord's will, we be the elect. So it says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle." So how do you make yourself ready to the battle? By getting involved, doing what the Lord say, following the instructions that the Lord laid down to the best of your ability. And in those evils, be as pilgrims upon the earth. Because our mentality should be, whatever we got, we got. You know, we may have it today, we may not have it tomorrow. But we know that if we are of the elect and the Lord, and we do the things that are pleasing to the Lord, when the time comes, he's going to make a way for us to be taken care of. If we get some extra food, or we get some extra money, or whatever the case is, and we store a little something extra, that's for a just in case or an emergency. But like brothers have been saying, which is true, that you may not be at your stash, so to speak, when hell breaks loose. So now what? See? So it's just there for a precaution, just in case, but we don't put our heart and our minds into that, because we know that whenever it happens, wherever we may be at, the Lord is going to cause something to happen so that we can receive the things that we need, because we are teaching, defending his names, their names, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and their word, and being defenders of the gospel. So now let's go from there to the Apocrypha, same book. Let's go to the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, the 5th chapter. We're going to start at the 1st verse. Going to read a couple of verses on that. Ecclesiasticus 5:1. Set not thy heart upon thy goods, And say not, I have enough for my life. Yeah. So it's not about stacking to, okay, I'm good now. You know, I'm remember what happened to the man that said he's going to rip down those barns because he had so much goods. He's set for life. So he's going to rip down the old barns, build new barns so that he can store his goods and be straight. And what did the Lord say? Thou fool, thou didn't know that I required thy soul this night. So our whole heart, mind, and soul, and energy, and hope, and faith is in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that when these things happen, He's going to make something happen for us. We've been bearing the heat of the day. You know, we've been bearing the cold. You know, we've been bearing the shame. You know, we've been bearing the persecution. You know, the slander, the false witnesses against us for the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And when the time comes, the Lord's going to ride for us. He's going to make something happen for us. It says, follow not thine own mind and thy strength to walk in the ways of thy heart. Why? Because we have instructions that the Lord said would come from His heart by the shepherds that He set up. It says, and say not, who shall control me for my works? For the Lord will surely revenge thy pride. Yeah. You got guys that say, well, I'm in control of my own destiny. I do whatever the hell I want to do. Ain't nobody telling me what to do or how to do it. You know, I got free will. No, you don't. You ain't got no goddamn free will. It says, say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me. Yeah, because you have these guys, you know, like these dickheads that of these different camps. Yeah, I took the jab. And nothing happened to me. I didn't turn into a zombie or anything. Hey, well, just wait. Because the time is coming where that shit is going to be activated. You know? You have something called a slow release. Like I make mention of back in the days, you had this vitamin. It was a pill, and half of it was fruit and the other half was vegetables. And it was time released. Like the fruit might be dissolved first, and once that starts digesting, then the other side starts being dissolved. So it's there's I just used the word, it's a slow activation, so to speak. I forgot the word that I just used. So wait, because when that time comes and you start feeling those effects, then you're gonna be like, oh shit, you know, I shouldn't have. What the hell's going on? I shouldn't have. What the hell's going on? It says, for the Lord is long suffering, He will in no wise let thee go. Concerning propitiation, be not without fear to add sin unto sin. Time release. There at the water, brother. Time release. You know, yeah, be not afraid to add sin unto sin. And say not, His mercy is great, He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from Him, and His indignation resteth upon sinners. See? Now this is the point here, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. You know, so the scriptures say, because sentence against the evil work is not executed speedily, it is fully set in the heart of men to do evil. So don't think, because the Lord is long suffering, so don't think because something don't happen right away that it ain't going to happen. Something will happen somehow, some way down the road. You could have been just being saved for the time when the famine comes, or some type of destruction. All right, now let's go from there. Looks like it wants to piss out here. Let's go to Jeremiah 15. Now this scripture here in Jeremiah 15 and Jeremiah 18 we're going to go to. This applied to back then, but the scriptures say the things that are written aforetime are written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So these things, we can apply that to now, because there's going to be similar situations. Just like when the Roman armies came in and rushed in during 66 AD into 70 AD, and the destruction of the temple and the sanctuary, that's the same thing that's going to happen now. But the sanctuary is going to be the Israelites. The troops are going to be American troops instead of Roman troops, which is nothing more than those ancient Roman troops coming back anyway, regardless of what nationality they were. Oh, well, you know, all the Roman troops, they were all Romans. No, they weren't. You had Roman troops that were from all different nations. You know, so put that in your pipe and smoke it. Inside joke. All right, so now Jeremiah 15:6. Thou hast forsaken me, saith the Lord, thou art gone backward. Therefore will I stretch out mine hand against thee and destroy thee. I am weary with repenting. Yeah, because the Most High holds back. It says, and I will fan them with a fan in the gates of the land. I will bereave them of children. I will destroy my people, since they return not from their ways. And these are the things that are coming. It says, their widows are increased to me above the sand of the sea, because there's going to be a lot of men that's going to die. And that's what the scriptures say. In that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. Because when you read Isaiah the 3rd chapter, the last couple of verses, it speaks about the men dying in the wars. And in the very next chapter, 4:1, it says, in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. So there's going to be a shortage of men. There's a shortage of men now, but there's going to really be a shortage of men. It says, I have brought upon them against the mother, their widows are increased to me above the sand of the sea. I have brought upon them against the mother of the young men a spoiler at noonday. I have caused them to fall upon it suddenly, and terrors upon the city. So there's going to be terrors upon the city. The Lord is going to cause it to happen abruptly, suddenly. Life has no meaning to me. Let's go back. Salaki, don't mind me. I'm sudden. Sometimes them doves, they seep out. Sudden, happening without warning or in a short space of time. Now let's go back. It says, she that hath borne seven languisheth. She hath given up the spirit or the ghost. Her sun is gone down while it was yet day. She hath been ashamed and confounded, and the residue of them will I deliver to the sword before their enemies, saith the Lord. And that's talking about to the rest of Israel. Now that happened back then when Nebuchadnezzar came and did what he did, but that's also going to happen again now. Because of Babylonian troops, Egyptian troops, Roman troops, Greek troops, they're all back in the reincarnation. And they're going to be doing the same exact thing that they did back then. And a lot of those people that suffered the sacking of the temple back then and the destruction, a lot of those people were the same people that were destroyed during 70 AD. And a lot of them is going to be the same ones that's going to be destroyed now. All right, so now let's go from there to the 18th chapter and the 20th verse. It says, shall evil be recompensed for good? For they have digged a pit for my soul. Remember that I stood before thee to speak good for them and to turn away thy wrath from them. And that's why we're out here speaking and telling Jake to turn to the Lord, so that the Lord won't bring wrath upon them. It goes on to say, therefore deliver up their children to the famine and pour out their blood by the force of the sword, and let their wives be bereaved of their children and be widows, and let their men be put to death, let their young men be slain by the sword in battle. So these people today, these Jakes, especially the ones that call themselves being awoke, knowing that they're Israelites, they'll have a problem with Jeremiah, because Jeremiah just put a curse on Israel and said for the Lord to let their widows be destroyed. The children be destroyed. Let them be widows. Let them be bereaved of their children, of their men. You know, it says, let the young men be slain in the battle. They would have a problem with Jeremiah today. Yo, Jeremiah, man, why you gotta be like that, man? Huh? Why you gotta, why you gotta hate the 2/3? Why you gotta act like that? Why you gotta put curses on Jake like that? It says love your brother. You're supposed to love your brother, man. Fuck out of here, man. It says, let a cry be heard from their houses when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them. See? So a troop is going to be brought suddenly upon Jake. Just like it happened back then, just like it happened during the Greek Empire, just like it happened during the Roman Empire and many other times. It says, for they have digged a pit to take me and hid snares for my feet. And you don't realize that whenever you come against the men of the Lord, you're really coming against the Lord. And many of you right now that's talking shit against the prophets, you were the same ones that killed the prophets in the past. You got a problem with the prophets now, you had a problem with the prophets in the past. And you're the same clowns that Yahushua was cursing out. Now, if we had been back then, we wouldn't have slain the prophets. And they were bigging up the prophets, but they were the same ones that were killing the prophets in the past. Yea, Lord, thou knowest all their counsel against me, to slay me. Forgive not their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from thy sight, but let them be overthrown before thee. Deal thus with them in the time of thine anger. Yep. Because when the Lord starts to bring wrath and judgment, that mercy is going to be moved out the way. That's why the prophets always pray, when the Lord bring that destruction, please remember mercy upon us. All right, now let's go to, almost finished here. It looks like it wants to rain out here. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra. This time we're going to go to the 14th chapter and the 13th verse. It says, now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Yeah, so these words are supposed to be comforting to the ones that are in trouble, the ones that are in sorrow, the ones that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. Because we're supposed to hasten the day to flee from these times. It says, for yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. Remember, when the Lord destroyed the world by flood, he said that he saw the wickedness of man, that it was great upon earth. It says, for the truth is fled far away, because they're not listening to the truth, and leasing is hard at hand. For now hasteth the vision to come, which thou hast seen. Right. And that's the times that we're in. So let's read that last verse again. For the truth is fled far away, and leasing is hard at hand. For now hasteth the vision to come, which thou hast seen. So now is the time when this vision is coming, and it's coming to destroy. So let's go to the last precept I have. It's in the book of Deuteronomy 31. Deuteronomy 31. And let's see. And we'll just go straight to the point. Verse 21. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness. For it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imaginations which they go about even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swear. So this word is a witness against Jacob. So the Most High, everything he does in order. There's nothing out of place. There's nothing out of order. That's why it says everything you do in writing. Because the Most High set this word up against us as a witness against us. And anybody tries to jump up and say, well, why did this happen? Well, here we go. Let's go to this scripture. Let's go to that precept, so on and so forth. And ultimately, if you want to get technical, the Lord set it up that way for us to go off so that he could also subject us in hope, you know? And that's where we're hoping in the mercies of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You know, so things are not going to always stay the same. Things will not stay the same. Things are going to change. You know, this whole rut that you see going on day to day, the same monotonous spirit that you see playing out on the world, on the earth today, is going to change. And we see it happening right before our eyes, but Jake is not even paying attention to what's going on because things are still running for them. They're still able to go to the store and get, you know, get some liquor, you know, get some food, you know, get with these skanks. So to them, things are gravy. But suddenly things are just going to pop, and then they're going to be like, oh shit, what's going on? You know, even though you have a lot more Jakes waking up, but they're still not, you know, they're getting hip to what's going on around them, but they're not getting with the program. They're not seeking the Lord really. And the Lord that they're seeking is sweet Jesus. They're going into that Christianity nonsense. See? So with that, you know, I pray that your brothers and your few sisters have been edified. Until the next time I say, Shalom.